Thanks for watching the Paul Farrington Show. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of the above. And make sure you follow us at Paul Farrington Show on Instagram. Thanks for watching. And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, the wild card reaction / divisional round preview show.
Yeah, mixing both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Just Jack Weinberger and Paul Farrington here today. Andrew is dripping sweat from practice. He won't be able to make it late day. And Ziggy is traveling back to the University of Virginia. So he will be back hopefully with the divisional reaction show.
Safe flight to Ziggy.
Yeah.
Be back soon.
And unfortunately, all our teams are out now. Vikings gone. Dolphins gone for executive producer Zach Bloomquist. And Steelers and Jets fought valiantly, but ultimately couldn't get to the playoffs. So we are now teamless in this playoff run.
Well, you lasted the longest. You lasted, what, 3 hours less?
3 hours longer than Zach. Yeah. And you know what? I think that you haven't really experienced too much playoff heartbreak, have you? Other than the Super Bowl?
In terms of what? Like being knocked out in a tough way?
Yeah. You really, the Steelers, when they make the playoffs, most of the time they either get blown out or.
I've experienced underwhelming seasons. Like go to the AFC
I guess you had
chip.
the Jaguars too.
Yeah, like AFC chip or divisional round and lose.
Yeah.
And where I felt like we were the better team.
I guess when we were younger, you had a lot more of those just run through the playoffs, but get to Super Bowl.
Like never really where I felt like, we should have won this game. Jacksonville mauled us.
Except maybe Cleveland.
Again, though, they took it to us.
You came back late, right?
Yeah, like we fell apart. Lost like 5 games in a row, fell apart, and they waxed us. Yeah. That was also the COVID year. No fans were in the stadium, so
you have no game that you look back on that haunts you? Except it'd have to be Green Bay, right? The Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's probably the worst.
Okay.
I also...
I have so many games.
Also, the losing at home. You were actually there with me. Losing at home to Baltimore in the playoffs. We were the 3. Sucked.
Actually, Jack, I was thinking about that game so I was at the Vikings-Giants game this weekend for anyone who didn't know. And it was awesome. Great atmosphere. The crowd was going crazy. We were begging for anything from our defense the entire game to give us a chance. But late in the game, probably 31-24, I think it was, and the Giants got the ball back. They stopped us. We went 3 and out. And the Giants fans in the back behind us start chanting, "Let's go Giants." And remember when we were at the Baltimore Steelers game, those "Let's go Ravens" chants?
Those Ravens chants in the top sections.
And I remember you turned and looked at me and you said, "God, there's nothing I hate more than when the opposing team's fans start chanting in your building." Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I was thinking of. With all these Giants fans standing up, scattered throughout the stadium, we ultimately had a chance at the end of the game, but I was just thinking back to that moment going, God, it's just horrible.
And I've seen us lose on the road, it's whatever. To lose a playoff game at home is a tough feeling.
Yeah, that's no fun at all. So we'll jump ahead and we'll get into some of the divisional matchups this weekend. Now that we're out, because I would have had a good time with this Vikings-49ers matchup. I know I would have talked myself into thinking the Vikings could win.
I had you guys against the Giants. I thought you were going to win that game.
You would think, but we had the worst defense possibly ever. Let's start with Jaguars and Chiefs, and we're going to talk a little bit about the spreads today too, because we feel like hitting the gambling side of things. Jacksonville at Kansas City. Kansas City is an 8.5 point favorite right now. I think a lot of people you're going to see putting money on the Chiefs. In fact, we see 60% of bets are on Kansas City right now, but the line has fallen a full point, so that is interesting. We believe that the respected money is on Jacksonville here. And when you take a look at this game, Jack, as a gambler, a gambling aficionado as yourself, what side of the line would you find yourself on?
Well, you know what side I'm going to say. I'm going to lay with the Chiefs,
public,
as well as the rest of the public. What's that? A little over 60% on Kansas City. Yep. Yet the line has gone from 9.5 to 8.5, which does signal sharp movement on Jacksonville. And I can understand why. This team, they fight. They don't go away. They're tough. They've shown it time after time. And the Chiefs, I believe, as a favorite this year, at home, 2-5 against the spread. As a double-digit favorite, it's something like...
I think it's 5 and 10.
It's like 5, yeah.
We have it right here. As a favorite this season, the Chiefs are 5 and 10. 2-5 at home against the spread.
2-5 at home against the spread. Not a good team when they're booked as a massive favorite.
So you're going with the Chiefs?
We've seen it time. But with that said, there's only, for me, and this is why I'm feeling public today.
Yeah.
A home playoff game in Arrowhead after you lost your last home playoff game in Arrowhead. For me, there's only one side, and that's the Chiefs. I cannot get myself to take the Jags and Trevor Lawrence plus the points in a game I can see them getting murked in Arrowhead Stadium. Yeah. So I'm going to lay the sharp money for those listening is on the smarter money. The guys smarter than me are on Jacksonville with the points. With that being said, I am laying the points with Kansas City.
No, and I think ultimately, again, I'm public, Paul. So I do go.
I
with
know
Kansas.
who you're on. Yeah, I know who you're on.
Yeah, no, I'll be on Kansas City too, actually, because I've been trying to talk myself, even in our whole pre-production conversations. I was trying to get myself to go with Jacksonville, but this team is down 27-0 this weekend. I
think Jacksonville, and like this might sound pretty crazy to you to say, but I've said this before. It sounds ridiculous because it's the playoffs. I think Jacksonville might have just won their Super Bowl coming back on 27.
Oh, it was. It was their Super Bowl.
Yeah. And now you go on the road to Kansas City. I just don't see a world where they're close. I
know it's hard for you to imagine because all you've had your entire life of being a football fan is success, basically. But imagine you're being a Jaguars fan.
It's a winner after
year after year. You just they had 2017, and that was a great season. They should have gone to the Super Bowl. They had New England. But for the past 20 years, this team just loses over and over and over again. To come back against Herbert and the Chargers, they were a dog in that game. Most people didn't believe in them in that game. I think that you nailed it. That was their Super Bowl. Such an emotional win. A lot of times we see the carryover, the hangover in these spots. And Kansas City can just put up points so quickly. Would it surprise you at all if this is 34-13 or 34-17 even?
No, I think it's what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's why I'm with you.
The last time I said this about the Jaguars playoff team, they won at home against Buffalo. All right, they won their playoff game at home.
Yeah.
Now they're going to Pittsburgh. No way they're winning in Pittsburgh. They're going to get mauled. And they went up there to cold temperatures and beat the Steelers. So, there's a two-way street. Maybe Jacksonville shows up. I just don't see it.
And the other way of looking at it is that maybe Kansas City is a little bit overrated going into this game or throughout this season just because we're so used to the Chiefs dominating. And this season's team has been really good and they're winning games, but not in the same fashion that they used to, I don't think.
I think a lot of people think they are overrated. I think this feels like a spot where they come out in their first,
so you're like,
we're
playoff
like, game.
Yeah, okay.
And they beat Jacksonville pretty good.
And
we're probably both totally wrong.
No, we normally are.
For me, I see only one side, and I see the Chiefs big, -8.5.
Later in the day, the Giants go to Philly.
I think we're on opposite sides here.
I think so. Again, I'm not sure who to root for because my ultimate tiers of teams that I hate, Jack, and you're pretty aware of this, but the Saints and Packers are the top tier.
Yes.
Green Bay 1, New Orleans 2. Have a little space. Then you have Philadelphia and maybe a team, and probably the Bears, Philly and the Bears. But now that tier 3, I'm starting to bring in some new teams. You have Seattle from the missed kick. The Giants are starting to piss me off a little bit. The Cowboys are always annoying. But right after this loss, all the Giants fans are trolling the Vikings. Giants Twitter account, Giant Instagram, everything that the Giants can do to troll the Vikings they're doing right now. And I've gotten so good at losing that I just push it off. Like I'm numb to it. So many people text me after the game. They're just like, "You guys suck. Go Giants." Start spreading the news.
Yep.
It just when you're a kid, the I'm rubber, you're glue. Everything you say bounces off me, sticks to you. It's like a stupid nursery rhyme like that. I am really good at doing that now. But after a while, it does start to wear down.
No, of course.
So I'm not sure, as much as I hate Philly, and Philly did the same thing after they beat us 38-7. It was just, unbelievable trolling. I'm not really sure who to root for in this one.
This one, if I'm you, I want to see the Eagles come out at home on a Saturday night and beat the living crap out of the Giants.
Yeah.
After Thibodeau was gritting on your field and all this stupid nonsense, I want them to get their ass kicked if I'm you.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm probably going for Philly, although I wouldn't be upset to see them lose either. The line in this game, though, is 7.5. Philadelphia favored by 7.5.
I would take it up to 17.5.
No, I know you love them. 70% of the bets are on the Giants, and that line hasn't budged at all. Yeah. So that's telling us.
And again, I used to look much more into this for my own bets when I first started. But I tend to just trust myself. I don't look too much into this as I used to. But for our viewers, over 70% of the money of the public bets, and you want to fade the public in general, are coming on the Giants.
Not me.
Yeah, not you. A trendy dog, right? They just beat Minnesota on the road. Philly slumped a bit. So they're a very public pick, and people are taking them. Plus 7.5. And the line has stayed frozen, which shows us that there is sharp money coming in on Philly minus the points, and that's the side that you would typically want to be on. And for me, this just screams Eagles. I think the Eagles are so much more talented than the Giants. Eagles will score in the 30s, and the Giants won't find that offensive success they found, like receivers running 30 yards open.
Oh, it was so bad.
Like they did in Minnesota.
Well, Daniel Jones as well this season. He's gone over 300 yards 3 times. That's against
Twice
the Vikings.
against Minnesota.
Twice, and the other one was the Lions. The Vikings have the 31st ranked defense in the league. I think they allow 391 yards per game. It's seriously one of the worst 50 defenses ever, I think.
It's a Saturday night in the most hostile place to play in Philadelphia. They're off a bye. Too much firepower offensively. I think they hang 35 points. And there's zero chance in my mind that the Giants and Daniel Jones look as good as they did against Minnesota.
No,
I can see this being
35-20
Eagles final. They win and they cover. Maybe the back door's open late.
I think this would be a game where you could backdoor for the
Maybe
Giants.
the back door's open late. They're down by 14 and they score a nonsense touchdown. But the Giants will not win this game in Philadelphia.
I wouldn't be comfortable betting on either side of this one. But if I did have to put my money, I think I would. Man, you keep talking me into these public bets although I guess the public one would be the Giants in this case. I want to play the devil's advocate for a second, though, and just think, because the Giants are playing good football right now. They're playing their best football.
Yeah, they are,
yeah.
They're
and Daniel Jones is playing the best football probably of his entire career at the moment. So I do think that this will be a very tight game. It's one that I think will be decided by probably 10 points or less. That's why it's tough for me to choose, because I think Philly wins, but 7 or 10 points, ultimately that decides whether or not you win your bet in this game. But with the Giants playing the way that they are, you know that they're going to come and they're going to play tough football, defensively and offensively. And Philly has kind of stumbled. It's understandable because Hurts has been out, but the whole team hasn't looked the same as when they were winning 38-0 earlier in the year and 25-0 and just crushing people.
Well, look, now getting a week off's perfect. Recoup. You're playing your first
that's why
playoff
the
game
bye.
at home.
Yeah.
And kick this team's ass.
So
I also do think, I like the Eagles even more so, too, because there was this whole, everybody was saying, the Giants, they their backups just hung with the Eagles in Philly, man. The Eagles barely beat the backups. Now the stars are coming in. Okay.
It's a tough place to play.
I think the Eagles
It's a very tough place.
The Eagles by 14 in this game.
Eagles 14. I would lean with you, and I would take the Eagles by 10. So both of us, again, not surprising that I've gone public, but here we are.
No. If you take them at 10, you're going sharp.
Yeah, I guess I am. I guess I am being sharp. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Buffalo 6.5 or 5.5 point favorite. 70% of the money on Cincy.
They're a trendy dog.
They're a very trendy dog.
I love the Eagles. More hesitant on Buffalo.
Okay, more hesitant on Buffalo here. That line has moved from 4.5 up to 5.5 on Buffalo. So we see, again, we talk about sharp money a lot right now. For anyone who doesn't know, the sharp money basically just means the very well-respected bettors, right? Or the bettors who will bet a lot of money. The professional bettors, essentially.
It's the pros. Yeah. So this is another pros, what we call it, pros versus Joes game.
Yeah.
Where the Joes are on the Bengals and the pros are on the Bills.
And the reason for that is everyone looks at the Bengals as that team. They see the team from last year that went into Tennessee and won, that went into Vegas and won, or I think they hosted Vegas, but they went into Kansas City and won. If there's any team out of this entire field that's built to go into the road and win these games, it would be the Bengals. And Joe Burrow is probably the best guy. He's the coolest guy that you could have going into these games. I think Mahomes is a better quarterback, but when it comes to pressure situations, Joe Burrow has shown time and time again that it doesn't faze him to be in a hostile environment during a playoff game. So that's why you see so many people taking Cincinnati, plus they played so well down the stretch. And Buffalo, they have the storyline with DeMar Hamlin, but they're not playing particularly well at the moment.
Oh, that's why you'll see the public on Cincy. It's they barely beat third stringer and Skylar Thompson. And now you get the defending AFC champs coming in, 5.5 points, a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's thinking. which leads me to believe Buffalo comes out, doesn't play 2 bad games in a row, and kicks their ass. But all of last year throughout the playoffs, and pretty much all of this season on the road, I have faded the Bengals. I have faded the Bengals so many times when they play on the road, and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase just do this to me every time. They're good. They just win.
Yeah.
They don't lose. So I'd probably stay off this game personally. I don't know who's gonna. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably go Buffalo with a gun to my head or a knife to my chest. But I'm probably laying off. I think since he comes out too with a little passion, a little pissed off that this game is in Buffalo. I think they're screwed by not having this game being a neutral field.
It makes no sense to me. When you look at what the NFL decided to do, and they have, if the Bills and Chiefs play in the AFC Championship game, a neutral site, it just makes no sense that you wouldn't have this game also be a neutral site.
Yeah, because if the Bengals had won that
direct
game,
impact on that game. Yeah. So and the Bengals were winning at the time as well.
It's a tough game for me to handicap. Both teams are so good, so explosive. I don't think Cincinnati is phased by playing on the road like we've seen. Tough game to pick for me.
I like the Bengals in this spot here. I understand that Buffalo is a tough place, and that Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in football, Stephon Diggs. It's just I'm confident in Burrow. I believe that he's able to get the job done here. In fact, I think he's probably the second best quarterback in the AFC behind Mahomes.
So you're going public. You're going public.
I'm going public in this one. I like Cincinnati here.
Gun to my head, I'd lay with Buffalo. I'll lay the points with Buffalo.
Yeah, public.
I don't want to. No, Sharp Jack.
All right, Dallas and San Francisco. This is probably the game of the week. This is the one that most people are looking forward to here. Although, man, Cincinnati. The Sunday games are great. Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Dallas, San Francisco.
For Buffalo.
Yeah, I think I am too. But if you're talking about nostalgia for a lot of '90s kids, me and you, '98, we are some '90s guys right here. San Francisco -3.5 against Dallas. We see 70% of the money on San Francisco. But the Sharps, again, in this situation, they're on the Cowboys. When I look at this game from just, forget betting, who do I think is going to win? San Francisco has just been really good for 10 games, 11 games now that they've won in a row. But we just looked at their schedule beforehand, and they haven't played a very good team in a while. If you go back to when they played Kansas City, they lost by 20. And then they beat
Tampa, who stinks.
They beat Tampa. But during this win streak, they beat Tampa and Miami. Those are by far the best 2 teams that they played.
They caught the Dolphins during their skid.
Yep. Well, I think that started the skid.
Started the skid. You're right, started the skid.
But I look at the San Francisco schedule, and I see Arizona a few times, Seattle a few times, who I never thought was that good.
Not as good as Dallas.
You see Vegas gave them a battle with Jarrett Stidham. I think that the San Francisco team is very talented. And Brock Purdy, what Brock Purdy has done is not impressive would just be wrong, because I understand how great the team is and the talent around him.
That guy just struck gold.
He did strike gold, but it's still impressive being the last pick in the draft, coming in and really dominating. These games aren't particularly close most of the time. He still does make mistakes, and when you watch him play, he'll get caught running backward. He was actually running backwards in the last game, a full sprint towards the other goal line at one point. He'll make some questionable throws or sneak some in that would probably get picked off if he were a half a beat slower. But I just like this Dallas team. I think that they have a chip on their shoulder from everyone telling them that they're not good enough. All year we've been hearing how good is San Francisco right now, especially the last 5 weeks. And Dallas is sliding. They lost to the Jaguars. The Eagles almost beat them without Hurts. But this team is just as talented.
I hit the nail on the head last week after everyone was overreacting how Dallas got blown out by Washington. They were looking ahead of the playoffs. They didn't care.
Yeah. The Washington loss, people, everyone was saying, how concerning is this? And they came out, and Dak Prescott had one of the best games of his career.
They were looking to that Tampa game before they even played that Commanders game.
Yeah.
Because they knew Philly was the one. Who cares about this? We're looking at Tampa, and they mauled them. People liked Tampa. Dallas kicked their ass.
And I'm excited to see how Brock Purdy handles Micah Parsons, because he's been really good escaping the pocket. That's one thing that I really noticed during the Seattle game was it's hard to sack Brock Purdy. He gets out of the pocket and he makes plays with his feet, but Micah Parsons is a different animal. And I think that this Dallas team is going to get to him. This is the first game I expect him to make some mistakes, and I think that Dak is going to have a good enough game. I don't think he goes out there and throws 4 touchdowns and runs one in like he did last week. But against the San Francisco defense, if you could put up 24 points, 28 points, I think that the Dallas defense is going to step up and get the job done. Really close game, but I have Dallas winning.
I think Dak played the best game of his career against the Bucs.
It probably was.
I don't think there was a game I recall he has played better. I lean San Francisco here. I'm going to go public here and take San Francisco. I do like Dallas. I think they're a great team. Their game against the Bucs was impressive. Chip on their shoulder, I agree. Close game, I agree. But this seems to me, we remember what San Fran also did to the crappy Bucs. So that's a bit of an overreaction. Yeah. Dallas fans will show out in San Fran. Don't get me wrong. They'll be there.
There'll be a lot of Dallas fans.
They'll be there. San Francisco, to me, is just a little bit too explosive on the offensive side of the ball. They got the ball to Deebo in space. There's Ayuk. There's Kittle. There's McCaffrey. I think it's a little bit too much. Far and away better than what Tampa has. I think the best team that Dallas has seen.
Probably.
And I think they win a 28-20 type game. Okay. I think their defense shows up much better than the Bucs defense. I think they give Dallas.
It's just so hard to stop them. It's hard to stop McCaffrey and Deebo. And then when you think you got those guys settled, that's when Kittle and Ayuk are still great playmakers, even though Kittle's getting a little older.
I think I think San Fran's D shows up as well and plays well in front of their home crowd and wins this game. Yeah. I don't see Dallas win this game on the road. I do like for Dallas, I like the revenge narrative of last year because San Fran knocked them out in their home building. And Dak in his interview last game was saying we'll prepare well. They're a good team. They kept us out last year. They know. They all remember. So I lean like that. It steers me off San Fran a bit, but I do still like San Fran at home in this game. I think a little too much firepower for Dallas. All
right, so
because we did see Gardner Minshew hang 40 on him. Like San Fran will score a lot of points.
San Fran will.
Can Dallas keep up against the best team in the league? Probably. I don't think quite.
I wonder how Brett Maher is going to play too after 4 missed extra points.
I think he'll play well.
I do think you can get the yips, and I think that's what you saw.
Yeah.
So I won't be surprised if he came back and just starts putting him through it as normal. But sometimes that can get to your head. I'd have to imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember Blair Walsh?
That's a terrible feeling.
Blair Walsh had that horrible miss against the Seahawks, and after that, the next season he came back and Blair couldn't hit anything. Yeah, I think it can. Some games can just get to your head.
I mean, 4 extra points.
The good thing for Dallas, which bodes well for them and Brett Maher, is that they won the game. If Tampa Bay had come back, storming back like Brady tends to do, and wins, maybe then you're looking at a Blair Walsh situation. But in this case, Dallas wins. He made the last one. I do think that gives you a little bit more confidence heading into this game.
And you heard what Dak said to him, too. Look, I was horrible the week before. We scored 6 points. Worst game of my life.
Didn't Dak throw his helmet?
Yeah, it comes out the best game of his life.
Didn't Dak throw his helmet on the side? Did you see the video, Dak throwing his helmet on the sideline after, I believe, the third missed extra point?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, after the third missed extra point, he threw his helmet and just said, go for 2. Like, why are we not going for 2?
Well, yeah, look, Dak.
And then he missed another one.
It's easy to give him a pat on the back after you win the game.
Yeah.
No, I think he'll be fine. I do think that San Francisco will score their points, and their defense will show out. I don't think Dallas will quite keep up against San Fran's D. I think it's a 31-23 type game. San Fran wins, but I give it to San Fran.
Yeah, I've got Dallas in the upset. I do think San Francisco though is really good, and Brock Purdy. I give him his flowers right now. Look at the quarterbacks in the NFC playoffs.
You could put me and you on that team. I said this before. You put me and you there, and I think we're fine.
I mean,
I think we're good.
Again, I think I could have made the throws Daniel Jones was making this past Sunday.
Oh, absolutely.
People 10 yards wide open.
30 yards wide open.
I was telling Jack at the game, it looked open on TV. It looked 10 times more open in person. The Darius Slayton slant across the middle of the field. If he catches that ball, he's still running. It was an atrocious showing. But Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy, what do you think the odds on that would have been at the beginning of the year to say they were 2 of the final 4 quarterbacks?
In the conference. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah. That's another thing though too, is like Minnesota played the worst defense I think I've ever seen. Yet it was 24-all in what, with 4 minutes left? You had a chance to win that.
Philly won't be like that.
They're not going to get that in Philadelphia.
No, in Philadelphia, they have some of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah, Philly's also going to score maybe even more points than you did, and they won't allow 30 points themselves.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm with you on most of the games, or the Saturday games at least, but the Sunday games were not.
So we both got Kansas City.
We both got Kansas City.
Both got Philly.
Both have Philly.
You have Cincy, I have Buffalo. Mm-hmm. You have Dallas, I have San Fran.
Yeah. So
I got all the home teams. You got.
I'm half and half.
You're half and half.
We'll see how it goes. We both got to have the 2-1s, and then we're split on the other games. But it should be exciting. I do think it's hard to top last year's divisional round. You had the Buffalo Kansas City game, the 49ers Packers. Every single game was just phenomenal.
Well, last year Bengals Titans too.
Bengals
right?
Titans was great, and what was the other one? It's Tampa and the Rams with the crazy comeback.
Yes.
I mean, I think it was the best weekend of football.
That was fantastic.
We've seen in a long time, maybe ever. So we'll have. Hopefully, we'll have some good stuff to react to on Saturday night, Sunday night, if we're able to do reactions.
What's your early bowl prediction?
Right now, man, if I have Dallas, I'm going to keep Philadelphia in there right now. That's been my Super Bowl pick since they took control of the 1 seed. I'm going to go Philadelphia, and since you're Kansas City, I'm going to go Cincinnati, Philadelphia.
I'm going to go Philly and the Chiefs.
Philly and the Chiefs,
yeah.
So, and who do you have winning
both
that?
1 seeds. I have the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, good. I mean, I'd root for them there.
Mahomes just put up one of the best seasons of his career without Tyreek Hill. I mean, this guy is
He's
God.
incredible.
He's God.
Yeah. No, he has the a little bit of the LeBron, Michael Jordan complex when it comes to MVP voting. He'll probably win it this year, but basically the past 4 years he's been in the league, he could easily win every single season.
Like he's the most valuable player on his team. Like not even.
Oh yeah, close. If you go by the award.
Yeah. If you go by what the award is saying, he should win it.
And if you go by the stats and the 1 seeds, like to be an MVP, what do you need? You probably need to be on a winning team. You probably need to be a superstar. And he's easily both of those, you know.
I mean, if you put most quarterbacks and their number one receivers is Juju, they're not as good.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say Kelsey.
Okay,
I'm gonna say Kelsey, but
even so, you look at his receiving core. He has Juju and Kadarius Toney.
If Cincinnati goes to Kansas City and they play in a rematch, Cincinnati has owned Kansas City past 3 times they played.
Cincy's beat them, I think, in 4 straight games.
3 or 4 in a row now. You got to think Kansas City would show up.
Yeah,
you have to imagine at some point.
Like, would they lose 2 home chip games to the same team in a row?
I just said they would.
I couldn't see it.
I do think the AFC will win, though.
I think it's going to be Buffalo versus Kansas City on a neutral field. And KC will be pissed off it's on a neutral field, and they'll win.
Well, KC owns Buffalo, and Cincinnati owns Kansas City. That's kind of the way I see it right now.
I think it's like KC. To me, is it's stupid that they're playing. If they play Buffalo, it's a neutral field.
No, it is. It is. And I want to clarify when I say KC owns Buffalo, but I'm talking about postseason here because I know Buffalo's won a couple of their most recent matchups.
Oh yeah.
In the playoffs,
playoffs
in Kansas City, they always seem to find some magic.
Regular season, Buffalo owns Kansas City.
Yeah. So there you go. That'll be our divisional round preview, and we'll be back with the reaction show. Hopefully, Andrew and Ziggy are around for that one. But thanks for tuning into this. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me, Jack, the show's account, anyone. We'd love to answer them. And remember, please like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way, as we say.
It goes a very long way.
So thanks for listening.
Much appreciated.
See ya.